What is going on, you guys? It's your girl Diana, back at you with another YouTube video. So I'm sure as many of you know, Pokemon Go has recently rolled out their newest feature, Routes. And along with this new feature, introduced a brand new legendary, Zygarde, and of course, Zygarde Cells, which can be found along said routes. However, needless to say, it has been a little bit of a bumpy start for the new feature. But I do have some good news for you, because it seems that one trainer has cracked the code on what the encounter rate is for the Zygarde Cells. So let's go ahead and hop into everything we know so far about Routes. So like I mentioned, it hasn't been the smoothest start for Routes. According to this article here on Dextro, it says the developer Niantic recently added Routes to the mobile Pokemon game with the feature allowing trainers to create routes based on their own walking pattern. The possibilities seem limitless as trainers can document everything from local hiking trails to the walking-based in-game activities in which they participate. And while it seems like a simple enough premise, the feature's launch hasn't exactly gone well. For quite some time after its release, players actually struggled to access nearby routes, which this is kind of like a sentiment that I saw across like YouTube comments, Reddit threads, and tweets, is that people that don't live in like large cities, for example, are not able to access routes. And today is the last day of the Blaze New Trails events, which one of the research tasks that you need to complete is to use the new routes feature. So you can see why some people would be frustrated if they don't have any routes in their area, as they quite literally are not able to move forward in the From A to Zygarde research storyline. But it looks like this is an issue that didn't only affect those in more rural areas. As it says here, this was especially confusing for those who do live in big cities with a sizable Pokemon Go community. But now that Routes is coming online for more people, trainers are encountering a new set of hiccups. So it looks like this was more of an issue that people were having when the new feature was still being rolled out to everyone globally. But it looks like now that the feature is actually available for everyone, people are running into a new set of issues. It says here, a Reddit user, I have no idea how to pronounce their username, has pointed out a mess of a route near them in a Pogo screenshot. The image accompanying the post either shows multiple routes stacked atop one another or one route that overlaps itself several times. And this is the screenshot they're talking about. As you can see, this route literally has like multiple areas where there's either multiple routes on top of each other, or this is just like one big mess of a route. It looks like spaghetti, but I would literally have no idea how to follow this route. I'd be like, huh, hello, where am I going? And it says, based on the comments in the thread, this particular issue with the Pokemon Go Routes feature isn't an isolated incident. One person claims the only route in their vicinity involves a busy highway. The one route within 30 miles of my apartment involves crossing a major, very busy, and very accident-prone highway in Maryland. And someone else responded saying the lone route near them is similarly marked along a major highway, which that definitely does not sound like the smartest place to have a route. Meanwhile, other replies to the post note that Routes still isn't up and running for everyone. At least you have routes, one Reddit user said in a comment mirroring several others. Reads another, whoa, you found a route, they do exist. Which, like I mentioned in the beginning of this article, is that this is actually a problem that a lot of people were having, where they were actually not able to find any routes near them. And technically I did check my Pokemon Go app this morning as well, and I also have no routes nearby, and I don't live in a particularly rural area. I live in like the suburbs. But this is one new addition to the game that will undoubtedly require lots of iteration in the weeks and months ahead, which I think we also have to remember that this is a very new feature. So as with many new features in any game in general, there is obviously going to be some bumps and some hiccups they're going to have to iron out. But I think for the most part, once you do have access to the routes and you do have one that you are able to participate in, the biggest issue that people are encountering at that point is actually finding the Zygarde cells that you need in order to get the complete Zygarde form. But like I mentioned, it looks like one Pokemon Go user did crack the code and was able to find what the encounter rate is for the Zygarde cells, so you know how many routes you're actually going to have to follow in order to find these cells. So here on futuregamereleases.com, it says Pokemon Go enthusiasts have been eagerly awaiting the arrival of Zygarde, the latest addition to the game. Many players are excited to learn how to obtain this powerful Pokemon and how to change its form. However, acquiring Zygarde and completing its transformation is no simple feat. It requires time, effort, and a thorough understanding of the game's new feature, Routes. To celebrate the introduction of Routes into Pokemon Go, Niantic launched the Blaze New Trails event. This exciting event is scheduled to conclude on July 24th at 8 p.m. local time, which is today, giving players ample opportunity to explore all of the event features and enjoy the accompanying bonuses. The highlight of the event was a long-awaited debut of Zygarde in Pokemon Go. Initially, players could encounter Zygarde in its 10% form by completing the special research story titled From A to Zygarde. However, completing this special research is no walk in the park, as it involves navigating through 5 challenging routes to eventually encounter Zygarde. Also, to complete step 4, you must find a Zygarde cell, which is where most people are running into a roadblock. So to unlock Zygarde's complete form, players must collect 250 Zygarde cells. These cells can be obtained exclusively through the exploration of routes, which is true. You literally cannot find these cells unless you use routes. But once you have amassed enough cells, they are stored within a Zygarde cube, which is also given to you by doing the special research that was given out during the Blaze New Trails event. So if you haven't claimed that research yet, you might want to jump on that before the event ends today. And you can then use them to change Zygarde's form, unleashing its true potential. A diligent Pokemon Go player on Reddit conducted an insightful analysis of the Zygarde cell's drop rate. Through their meticulous observations, they discovered some valuable details about routes and how Zygarde cells appear during gameplay. And here are the key findings that this user actually found. So 7 routes per day. The player walked through 7 routes each day to assess Zygarde cell appearances. First time chance. There seems to be a 50% chance of a Zygarde cell appearing on the player's first time through a route each day. So it looks like you do have a greater chance of encountering a Zygarde cell when you do use a route for the first time on that day. Subsequent reruns. After the initial run through, cells do not spawn on subsequent reruns of the same route. So you can't just keep doing the same route over and over and over again and expect a cell to spawn. You do have to go to a new route in order for the cells to spawn, it looks like. No impact from speed or catching Pokemon. The player's speed or catching activities during a route does not influence Zygarde cell spawn, so you can't do anything to make them spawn more often. Cell appearance time. Zygarde cells typically appear within a 50-meter radius about 10 seconds after starting the route. Okay. That's good to know. So it looks like the Zygarde cells literally spawn right when you start the route. Manual collection. Cells do not get auto-collected if the player exits a route. They must tap on the cell to collect it. So you can't just like start the route, see the cell, and not click on it. You actually have to physically click on it. Non-reappearance. Cells do not reappear when the player reruns the same route, which I feel like they kind of already mentioned that, which means that you are going to have to explore new routes in order to collect the Zygarde cells to eventually get your complete form, which sounds like a ton of time and effort. But the article ends off by saying, if you haven't encountered Zygarde cells yet, don't worry, armed with this valuable information, you can now embark on your mission with a better understanding of how to obtain and utilize them. Which honestly, I feel like that is really valuable information, especially the parts where it says that you can't just keep doing the same route and that you have a higher likelihood of running into a Zygarde cell when you do go to a new route for the first time that day. I feel like those are 2 very important things to keep in mind, because I'm sure a lot of people were probably hoping that you could just keep doing the same route over and over and over again and just collect your Zygarde cells that way. But it looks like they have made it a little more difficult to collect these Zygarde cells. But as always, I would love to hear what you guys think, what your experience has been so far with routes. Are you enjoying the feature? Do you have any suggestions on how it can be improved? Leave all of your comments and opinions down below in the comments. But that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and if you did, I kindly suggest that you consider subscribing so that I can continue to make content for you guys. And if you are already subscribed and you would like another way to support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all of my other socials so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to those of you who have joined the channel as members. I appreciate you all so much. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.